Greetings, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
A very warm welcome to the opening ceremony of the mock trial event. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of the SRGS family. We have with us our chief guest, Mr. Pulkit Singh, the Vice Chairman of the SRGS Lucknow School, Ms. Palak Singh, the Director of Operations, the Chief Academic Advisor, Ms. Pooja Prasad, our beloved parents, my worthy teachers, and the loving students. It is my utmost pleasure. I am pleased to introduce you all with the judges of the event who are also accomplishing law students. They have been a support system and simplifying the procedure as per the grade level of our school students and have conducted trainings for them. We have with us Tanya Prasad, Muskan Kumar, Ms. Mansha Bhatia, and Mr. Aryan Srivastav as the judges. It's my utmost pleasure to welcome you all to our first ever edition of the Inter-House Mock Trial Competition. A mock trial is a platform where the participants come together to try a case. They act as advocates and witnesses in the trial. The event helps them develop skills like public speaking, communication skills, which will build their confidence. We, as a collective community of the SRGS family Lucknow, are dedicated for a holistic development of the children, which will surely ensure that they become capable of dealing real life challenges in future. This is also the first step towards character building exercise for the young minds as they will develop the analytical approach towards understanding the rights and the wrongs happening around them. With that note, I would now invite our chief guest, Mr. Pulkit Singh, who is a Master in Law from Durham University, United Kingdom. He has been a law practitioner in Delhi and now is heading Kamala Nehru Group of Institutions, which offers range of undergrad and master degree courses, to say some golden words of wisdom and deliver the welcome address. Sir, over to you.
Good evening to all of you. I hope all of you are healthy and fine. It's been a very tough situation for the last 18 months and we are slowly but surely coming out of it. It's wonderful to be part of this occasion. I just hope that all of the students use this opportunity to present their debating skills and present fair and sound arguments. I certainly hope that we can have these kind of events in school very soon. And looking at the current situation, we are on that track. But till then, I hope all of you give your best and enjoy yourselves. And I'm also hoping that we get certain lawyers from the school, because I have been a law student as well. So it will be my wish to have certain law students from our school. Just one more thing. I hope all of you are following the protocols, the COVID protocols, when you're outside of your home.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Please do continue to follow it because this pandemic is still
Yes,
not
sir.
over. So I just urge all of you to please, look after yourselves and hopefully we'll be out of it in like 5 or 6 months. But till then, be very vigilant.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm sure our participant children and teachers are quite motivated and impressed by the thoughts. Now, moving forward, it's time for which you all are waiting for. I wanted to request Principal Ma'am, but as I told you, she is engaged in some urgent situation, so is not able to join. So on her behalf, taking the privilege, I would, declare the event open. This mock trial event competition is declared open. So we all will now proceed to the various courtrooms. We have already generated and shared the links. So all the teachers and participants can join the courtrooms allotted to them. The links are shared with the parents as well. So if the parents join and encourage the children, it will be a great learning for them, a great motivation for the children as well. So a great experience for everyone who is participating in this.
Good evening, honorable judges, respected teachers, and dear participants present here. I request the honorable judges to permit us to start with the proceedings.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to invite the prosecution counsel, Mr. Mrigang Shukla, for his opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Mrigang Shukla and this is my co-counsel, Ms. Amrita Pandey. Today, you will hear about the inhuman treatment meted out on my deceased victim, late Miss Supriya Gupta, by her parents-in-law, Miss Megha Gupta, Mr. Ravi Gupta, and late Mrs. Supriya's husband, Mr. Ranjan Gupta, who demonstrated inhumane disposition and behavior towards the deceased since the very inception of their marriage, because she was not able to give them the promised dowry due to her parents' demise and their poor financial condition. Today, we will prove that late Mrs. Supriya Gupta was murdered, and that is why by the Gupta family, and that is why we ask you, Your Honor, for a verdict of guilty. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon the defense counsel, Ms. Anushka, for her opening statement.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Anushka Mishra, and I, together with my colleagues, represent the defendant, Mr. Ranjan Gupta, his mother, Mrs. Meghna Gupta, and his father, Mr. Ravi Gupta. The defendants stand here wrongly accused of the crime of dowry and murder of Supriya Gupta. At the end of this trial, we would be highly grateful if you render a verdict of not guilty. Members of the jury, as a defense attorney, I will call two witnesses to testify. My first witness will be Mr. Ranjan Gupta. He will testify under the oath that neither him nor his parents murdered Supriya Gupta and will prove the negative behavioral traits of Supriya. My second witness will be Kamla, sister of victim. She will testify under the oath that Supriya's in-laws never posed for any dowry after their marriage.
In this court,
In this court,
I stand as a witness
I stand as a witness.
and I shall only speak the truth.
I only speak the truth.
Alright. You may please continue.
I am Mrs. Manjeet Kaur Sodhi. How do you know late Mrs. Supriya? Supriya was a primary teacher in my school. What is the name of your school and what is your designation there? I am the principal of Golden Public School. Okay. So, Mrs. Sodhi, could you please tell us how was your relationship with Mrs. Supriya? Mrs. Supriya, Mrs. Supriya was a teacher in my school. She was a very hard-working girl and cheerful girl who loved children and often told me how her in-laws often taunted her for being childless and dark-skinned. Supriya was a very gentle girl. She and I were close, hence she always told me of the emotional, mental and physical torture her in-laws and husband used to put her through because her parents had promised her in-laws that they will give the dowry after her younger sister Kamla's wedding in August 2020. Supriya could not give now, as her parents had died in an unfortunate accident in November 2020. But in the recent past, she was absent from the school for quite many days. My first question to you is what is your name and what was your relationship with Supriya?
My name is Ranjan Gupta and I am the husband of
late Miss Supriya Gupta.
What was her behavior towards you and your family members?
Okay. She was very self-centered, ambitious, and was very frustrating natured. She did not take care of me and my family, and the relationship was not very good with me.
So, can you please tell me what exactly happened on 7th January when you came back from your office?
On 7th January, when I came from the office around 5 p.m., I saw Supriya arguing with my parents. I asked her that what happened, that why she was just arguing with my parents. Then she said that now it is enough. You have to fulfill my dreams and my demands and leave this house. And she explained, and then she got out of control. And in her anger, she went to the kitchen and she bought a knife. She first threatened us and then put the knife on her hand and cut it. She was not able to control herself and she fell down as she was wearing very heavy sari, and then her head hit the brass and she became unconscious.
Okay, so you said she started threatening you. What kinds of threats did she give to you and your family members? Can you please tell me?
Yeah. She gave threats like moving out of the house. She wanted more comfortable lifestyle as she was very ambitious. She always threatened us by saying that she would commit a suicide and then we all would be responsible for her for her murder.
Your Honor, my client Mr. Ranjan Gupta is right because it clearly states in the forensic report that something hard hit on her head and she had cuts on her wrist which was of kitchen knife only. Thank you, Your Honor. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Prosecution Counsel 2, Ms. Amrita Pandey, to conduct the cross-examination of the defense witness 2, Mr. Abdullah.
Thank you, Your Honor. Defense, could you please tell your name and what relationship do you have with the deceased?
Hello, I am Supriya's sister Kamala.
Okay, so your parents were killed in an accident. Then too your sister was being forced to give the remaining dowry after her marriage. Knowing that taking dowry is illegal as per section 304A, the Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961 and section 304B, which clearly states that whoever commits dowry death will be punishable with imprisonment of minimum 7 years but may also extend to life imprisonment. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, Supriya was never forced to give any dowry to them.
What evidence can you show for this? Because Mrs. Sodhi, as she already told that she was being forced to give the dowry by her parents-in-law.
Supriya used to cut herself a lot of times whenever she was angry or mad. That's why that might be an explanation to why there were bruises.
But why will she harm herself?
She used to do self harm because that's a way that it's a coping mechanism by many people.
Now, I would like to call upon Defense Counsel 2, Mr. Kritikya, to conduct the cross-examination of the prosecution witness 2, Ms. Neva.
Good evening, Your Honor. So I want to ask the prosecution side witness to what was the relation with you with Supriya's? What was your relationship with Supriya?
I am Inspector Ramdhir Shukla, and after Mrs. Sudhi called me for the crime scene. So when I don't had the any proof against Rajan, so I just from that I know from this girl is Supriya, and this is my relationship of like Supriya with me.
Okay. Okay, so my first question to you is that if Supriya's parents were bodily harming her, so why didn't she file an FIR on them? She was well educated.
Because I think so she is forced, and she was forced with her parents-in-law, and she was like just said very taunted things uh, to her, and she was depressed, so that's why I don't think so she think of FIR.
Okay, so as you said that, so the my next question is that as she was forced to not do the job, so why she was continuing doing job? Why she was if
because
yes, you may continue.
because it was like she loved children a lot, and she don't want to just leave this job because she's getting good money, and she loved children to teach, and she want to just become a good teacher. That's why.
Okay, so at the murder place, there was no weapon found. So how can you say that the marks on her which were on her body was made just by the Ranjan Gupta and their parents?
Actually, maybe if Supriya hurts herself, so firstly a person cannot hit herself like this kind of, and if it's possible that she is hitting herself like this, so she can I don't think so a person who is beating herself, she had that energy that she can just wrap herself with the black and hang up, and maybe Ranjan Gupta has hidden all the weapons because of the police.
She was in depression. That's why only she just force her parents for that she should force her parents that that she want to live alone. If she was forced to do the job, she didn't leave it. Then why she was forced to do? She was cannot file an FIR. She was also forced there also.
Because she was feeling, I think so she was feeling guilty, or she was feeling sad about it, like her parents promised her husband for the dowry, and he didn't didn't give them, so that's why because it was little bit her mistake even, so that's why I think so she didn't make any FIR, registered any FIR.
Okay.
Now, I would like to invite Prosecution Counsel to Ms. Amrita Pandey for their closing statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you have witnessed the events unfold in the due course of the proceedings, my witnesses have produced befitting evidences to support the fact that Supriya was indeed murdered, as she was unable to arrange for the promised dowry. This has been clearly ascertained by Mrs. Sodhi's evidences, as she was just like a friend of late Mrs. Supriya, who knew her since she had not got married. Mrs. Sodhi was also already aware that Mrs. Supriya's parents-in-law can cause a bodily harm, as she had already told her before. With this, it is very much clear that late Mrs. Supriya's parents-in-law practiced domestic violence with her as per the section 498A of the Indian Penal Code, the Domestic Violence Act of 2005. Being cruel with women and causing a bodily harm is illegal in India and is an punishable offence. Adding further, Inspector Ramadar Shankar was not allowed to enter Mr. Ranjan Gupta's house on 15th of January, as he did not have a warrant. He was told that late Mrs. Supriya was suffering from jaundice, but they did not show any evidence for her suffering. In addition, according to the forensic reports, late Mrs. Supriya had no trace of jaundice at all in her body. This states that Mr. Ranjan Gupta and his family lied on 15th of January when Mrs. Sodhi and Ramadar Shankar had gone to see if late Mrs. Supriya was doing fine. As per the forensic reports, late Mrs. Supriya died 15 days before her dead body was found. And if she died 15 days before, then during this time interval, she must be missing from Ranjan Gupta's house. Then how can Mr. Ranjan Gupta and his parents be unaware of her presence in the house? Also, late Mrs. Supriya did not actually know the location of Mr. Ranjan Gupta's new workplace. So, if she committed a suicide, how can she choose that specific location only? Only Ranjan Gupta knew about it. And if she committed a suicide, how can she injure herself, fracture her skull, riddled with deep wounds, and still surviving, having energy to wrap herself and then hang up from a height? With this, we have enough evidence to prove that this was a heinous crime committed in the name of dowry, which resulted in an innocent's life being taken away in the most inhuman, gruesome, and violent manner. Late Mrs. Supriya had a very well planned murder. She may not be present here, but her soul yearns for justice. We ask for your verdict for guilty. Thank you.
Your Honor, hence it has been proved by my client Mr. Ranjan Gupta and Mrs. Ravi Gupta and Mrs. Megha Gupta are not guilty because Supriya attempted a suicide and because she lost control. That woman, due to her negative behavioral traits like frustration, short-tempered nature, and greed for higher lifestyle, which eventually led to the incident. Supriya also cut her nerves. She could not control herself because of the heavy, uncomfortable cloth she wore, and she fell on a metallic vase which kept beside her and got unconscious. When she was threatening him, and his parents have been proved by the forensic report, which state that there is a cut on the wrist and most probably by a kitchen knife. Your Honor, therefore, my client are not guilty. Are guilty. Not guilty as it has been proved that there has been no FIR reported for dowry against them. Hence, it is the case of suicide, where the victim tried to threaten the accused people for the personal needs. And out of fear, my client keep her body in the basement of a construction site. Hence, I request the jury members to give the verdict of not guilty in this case. Thank you, Your Honor. I rest.
Your Honor, I request you to grant permission to end the proceedings here.
You may.
Thank you, honorable judges, dear participants, and respected teachers for your presence here in the meeting. Thereby, we end the session now. Thank you.
I would now like to invite the prosecution counsel, Mr. Akshans, for his opening statement.
My Lordship, I am Akshansh Dubey, public prosecutor in this case. The case of the prosecution is that the accused people present in this court are guilty of the murder of the deceased late Supriya. The term murder is not just a murder, but the death of the deceased is caused at the extreme level of severity. The severity of the crime was of such heinous and brutal nature that one will be shocked to express it. The murder of the deceased is purely a case of dowry death under section 304B of the Indian Penal Code, read with section 302 on all reasonable doubt. The statement of the witnesses, the story procured before the police by the sister of the deceased as to the demand of dowry, the evidences on the crime scene, the opinion of the forensic experts, the post-mortem report, the presumption drawn as soon before the death of the deceased, makes it crystal clear that all the accused were completely involved in the murder of the deceased. The essence of the case lies around the definition of dowry. Dowry, an evil which has year after year taken modus operandi for the greedy people to ruin the great values of the ancient Indian civilization, wherein it is said, Yatra naryasti udyante ramante tatra devta, to say God lies there where the women are being respected and devoted. The sole objective has been shattered, and people like him have made us to think that as to what a legislature should do to attack, to control, to stop, to neutralize the happening of such incidents as irrespective of penal laws, the crime, the criminal intentions, the pessimistic approach of people like the present accused never changes. Thus, to the wisdom of this honorable court, I pray before this court that this court shall convict the accused people on the basis of the severity of the offense committed by them, with the maximum of punishment which this court deems fit. By this I end my opening statement. Thank you, my lordship.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon Defense Counsel Ms. Shreya for her opening statement.
I am Shreya Hasmi Matta, Counsel 1, Defense Side. My clients, Ranjan Gupta and his parents, Megha Gupta and Ravi Gupta, have been accused for the murder of Supriya Gupta. Supriya's parents promised Ranjan's family that they will give some amount of dowry, but they said that they'll pay the amount of dowry after Supriya's sister Kamala's marriage, which took place in August 2020. But unfortunately, Supriya's parents died in a car accident in the month of November 2020. As they did not pay the remaining amount of dowry, Supriya went to her in-laws to talk about the amount of dowry which they had to pay. And according to my clients, they did agree. And later on 8th, when after Ranjan went to his office, Supriya packed her bags, and when her in-laws inquired Supriya where she was going, she told that they were some holidays and she was going to her relative's house. Then, on 10th January 2021, Supriya called Ranjan and informed him that she was sick and was suffering from jaundice. Then, on 15th, Supriya's school principal, Mrs. Sodhi, called Ranjan and to inquiry about Supriya, as she did not come to school for 1 week. This made Ranjan shocked. And then after, once Ranjan's office new branch opened, he went to his office and the peon there found out Supriya's dead body. My clients were shocked that their beloved Supriya had died. By saying this, I'd like to end my opening statement.
I would now invite Prosecution Counsel to conduct the examination in chief of their own prosecution witness, Ms. Anshika Pandey.
To the wisdom of this honorable court, I will be pleased to present the list of witnesses. Mrs. Manjeet Kaur Sodhi, the branch manager of Rashtriya Bank, the peon of the bank, the employees of the bank, Mrs. Kamala, the sister of the deceased, the doctor who conducted the post-mortem, the forensic expert, and the investigating officer, Ramdhari Shukla. Out of the said 8 witnesses, I would be obliged to present one witness, which is said to be prime prosecution witness, Mrs. Manjeet Kaur Sodhi. The witness is directly linked with the murder of the deceased Supriya. So, by the permission of this honorable court, I would like to call the prosecution witness 1, Mrs. Manjeet Kaur Sodhi.
You have the permission, counsel. Before you proceed with the questioning, I would like to administer the oath to the witness. Is the witness present in this court?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Repeat after me. In this court,
In this court,
I stand as a witness
I stand as a witness,
and I shall only speak the truth.
and I shall only speak the truth.
Very well. Counsel, you may proceed.
So, Mrs. Sodhi, shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell your name before the court?
My name is Mrs. Manjeet Kaur Sodhi.
What is your qualification and designation?
I am Ahmed and is presently principal of Golden Public School, Haripur.
So, Mrs. Sodhi, how long you are in touch with the deceased, or in other words, I can say, how long the deceased was in employment as teaching faculty in your school?
I was knowing the deceased from the day I joined the school as principal, and the deceased was unmarried.
What kind of teacher was the deceased?
She was a very punctual and a nice lady, and also she was a very disciplined teacher.
Well, Mrs. Sodhi, have you attended the marriage ceremony of the deceased?
I didn't attend the marriage ceremony of the deceased as I was busy with some of my important work.
Now, coming to the point, prior to the death of the deceased, have you noticed any kind of change in the behavior and attitude of the deceased?
The day I made call to the husband of the deceased, it was never happened that the deceased ever take a leave. And it surprised me because without any prior notice and intimation, the deceased was absent up to a week for the school.
Can you tell the court that is it true that you made a call to Ranjan Gupta on 15th January 2021?
Yes, I made a call to Ranjan Gupta on 25th January 2021 because Supriya has given her husband's number, Ranjan's number, as emergency contact number.
So, as per the findings of the investigating officer, on that day, did you find something fishy while talking to the accused number 1? And even you approached the house of the deceased along with the police officials to know about her whereabouts. Is it correct?
Yes, it is correct that I approached the deceased house along with the police officials to know about her whereabouts.
What was fishy, which you noticed according to you while talking with the accused number 1?
The reason of fishy was the tone of the accused number 1, Ranjan, his husband, as he claimed his wife was sick and resting at home and hung up saying he was busy with some work.
On 15th January, at what time did you reach her house with the police?
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon the Defence Counsel to conduct the examination in chief of their own defence witness, Mr. Rud Pratap Singh.
Hello, Mr. Ranjan.
Hello.
Mr. Ranjan, what do you do for a living?
I'm the assistant bank manager of Rashtriya Bank.
Mr. Ranjan, where do you live?
I live in the Sunshine Society.
Ranjan, what was your relationship with Supriya?
She does not take care of my parents. She just do the teaching.
Arishna, please repeat your question. I think he has not heard it properly.
Was your marriage life with Supriya a healthy one?
Yes, it was.
But according to but according to your earlier statement, you said that your marriage life with Supriya wasn't a good one, and that she wouldn't take care of your parents.
I said, oh, it was no. It wasn't so good.
Is it true that you were satisfied with the earning of the deceased?
Can you repeat the question?
Is it correct that you were satisfied with the job and the earning of the deceased?
Um, I would like to say that Manan is witness to as a neighbor.
Ma'am, but I was told that we are supposed to be cross-questioning the witness according to what the previous witness said.
Okay, so I think we are done with the opening statements and the examination in chiefs, right? So now we will begin with the cross examination. So the cross examination, prosecution counsel 2 will cross examine defense witness 2, and then the defense counsel number 2 will cross examine prosecution witness 2.
My lord, can I start the prosecution?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, Mrs. Sodhi, did Supriya ever mentioned of being ill tortured, like being tortured by her in-laws or by her family? So, sir, what did you found at the murder scene?
The body was found in the basement of the bank building, the new building of where the accused work as an employee, and I've also found a kitchen knife beside the body.
Okay. So, did you try to know that how can the body be there? Like checking the CCTV. It's a bank, so there must have been the CCTVs.
Actually, sir, the building was new build, and we checked the CCTV cameras, and but there were no traces of how the body has been tied up there.
Okay, okay. So, but it was a new building, and since the records were there, so I think so that there should be a guard over there. So, didn't you try prosecuting the guard and like finding out something?
We took the statement of the guard, and he told that someone came in the building, but didn't know about who was it.
So, like, I don't think so that the guard can allow everyone to come in the building and go with the building. And with a it was a body, so like bringing a body into a building is not that easy. I think so.
With the permission of this honorable court, I would like to conclude the present trial.
Yes, counsel, you have the permission from the court. Please proceed.
Okay, sir.
My lord.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. My lordship, I would like to pinpoint some of the findings of this case before this court. My lordship, this is a case where brutality has crossed all its limit. It is the case where humanity and morality is ashamed of its virtue. It is the case where every parent will think 100 times before letting their daughter get married. It is the case where greediness has overcome the moral values. In a nutshell, the murder of the deceased was well planned. If we go through the story narrated on 7th Jan 2021, the deceased was being brutally treated, and on the very same day, when the deceased confronted before her husband about the inhumane behavior of his parents, the husband became mute. The examination in chief and the cross-examination makes things more clear. Secondly, the recovery of the body was found in the basement of the office of the bank, of which the accused number 1 Ranjan Gupta was an employee in, and the said bank branch was a new branch which was near to the residence of the accused number 1. In comparison to the old branch, and the bank was just shifted near to the day of the incident. Thirdly, when the prosecution witness 1, who is the principal of the school in which the deceased was employed in, made a call on the number of the accused number 1, as the deceased has given the number for emergency situation in the school. The accused number 1 gave an excuse that the deceased is not well and will soon return back to school. And when the principal approached the house of the deceased along with the police personnel, the accused person did not allow to search the house as the police had no search warrant. Fourthly, at the place where the body was recovered, when the prosecution witness 2 found that the accused number 1 was present there and inquired about the deceased, the accused number 1 gave a false statement that the deceased is in school. And when the prosecution witness 2 made a call to prosecution witness 1, it was found that the deceased has not joined till date, and that when the prosecution witness 2 called the prosecution witness 1 for the identification of the body, the prosecution witness 1 identified the body of the deceased as was Supriya. Fifthly, a presumption was also drawn on the statement of the prosecution witness 2 that prior to the incident, when the prosecution witness 2 on the call of prosecution witness 1 on a suspicion, then inquired at the house of the deceased to know about her whereabouts, the in-laws denied to provide any information. 6. From the forensic report and the post-mortem report, it was clear that the murder took place 15 days back, which means the accused number 1 who that has the knowledge that this new branch was about to open, used the place to dispose the body after the murder of his wife, and that murder took place either on the day 7th January or near to that date, and it was caused on the reason on non-fulfillment of the dowry demand, regarding which the deceased was being mentally and physically tortured, thus bringing the picture crystal clear that the deceased was being tortured and ill-treated soon before her death, bringing the whole story under Section 304B, Section 302, and Section 334 of the Indian Penal Code, wherein the possibility of Section 306 of committing suicide is ruled out. Hence, seeing the brutality and heinous of this crime, I pray before this honourable court to sentence the accused people to the maximum of the punishment which this honourable court deems fit. Now the findings. Going through the evidences on record and findings, it is found that all the accused people present in the court right now are individually and collectively responsible for the murder of the deceased Supriya under Section 304A, dowry death, Section 498A, a husband or relative of a husband of a woman subjecting her to cruelty, Section 34, common intention of all the accused people.
As mentioned, there are no traces that my client has murdered Supriya Gupta, and after listening all the witnesses, nothing is clear as mentioned by the inspector that someone might have put the body in the basement. So I would like to conclude my statement by saying that there are no particular traces that my client Ranjan Gupta has committed this murder, and there are no points on which he can be accused on the sections 304B, 306, and 498A. Thank you.
Wonderful. I mean, you are all such small students, school kids, okay? And I was just discussing with my co-judge, Tanya here, that you have so much potential, so much talent, and more than that, you have prepared so well that we did not even see, like, we are college students, we do not see such level of preparedness and research even from our colleagues in colleges. Okay, so you just take pride in the fact that you have surpassed some people in colleges in terms of your research and your performance today in this courtroom. So big congratulations on that. Okay, and wonderful, wonderful, extremely wonderful.
I would totally agree with my co-judge Aryan Shrivastava, whatever he said, and both the sides, the counsel and the petitioner, the defense and the petitioner, they have presented their arguments really well. And big kudos to the presenting the questions on the spot. Like, I actually discussed with them that even though things went the other way, but still they presented the questions on the spot, and the witnesses answered it as well. So that's it, and best of luck to everyone.
Good evening, honorable judges, respected teachers, and dear participants present here. I request the honorable judges to permit us to start with the proceedings. Thank you, Your Honor. Now I would like to invite the prosecution counsel, Mr. Akshansh Dubey, for his opening statement.
With the permission of this honorable court, my lordship, I would like to address my opening statement.
Permission granted.
The case of the prosecution is an extensive and profound example of dowry death. The case of the prosecution is an exemplary example for understanding what Honorable Supreme Court in era of judgment has said, that a straitjacket and literal interpretation of penal provision of section 304B on dowry death may have blunted the battle against the long-standing social evil. The accused people present in this court are guilty of the murder of the deceased late Supriya. The murder was not just a murder, but was an expression of the extreme level of severity. The impression drawn was of such heinous and brutal nature that one will be shocked to express it. The murder of the deceased is purely a case of dowry death under Section 304B of the Indian Penal Code 1860 beyond all reasonable doubt. In the present case, categorically, statement of the witnesses, the theory of dowry demand narrated by the sister of the deceased, the evidences on the crime scene, the opinion of the forensic experts, and the post-mortem report, this all draws a presumption under Section 114 of the Indian Evidence Act 1872 that soon before the death of the deceased was subject to cruelty or harassment by her husband or any relative of her husband for, or in connection with any demand for dowry, makes it crystal clear as per the definition of dowry death under Section 304B, Clause 1. Here, I would like to quote a dialogue on the finding of the prosecution, which is well suited in this case, from the movie Sherlock Holmes. Never theorize before you have data. Invariably, you end up twisting facts to suit theories instead of theories to suit facts. Honorable Supreme Court in Sadbir Singh versus State of Haryana has held that Section 304B IPC does not take a pigeonhole approach in categorizing death as homicidal or suicidal or accidental. The reason for such non-categorization is due to the fact that death occurring otherwise than under normal circumstances can, in cases, be homicidal or suicidal or accidental. The essence of the case lies around the definition of dowry as given under Section 2 of Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. Dowry, an evil which has year after year taken modus operandi for the greedy people to ruin the great values of the ancient Indian civilization. Where on one hand we praise women on the name of goddess Durga, where we value our land as mother, where we call rivers with women names, and on the other hand make the world ashamed on us with cases like Nirbhaya and Supriya. We say, Yatra Naryasti, Pujyante Ramante Tatra Devta. To say, God lies there where the women are being respected and devoted. And on the other hand, we treat women as slaves, as our property. The sole objective has been shattered, and people like him have made us to think that in the present scenario, the legislature is supposed to think once again to do something. The judicial system is required to implement new tools to neutralize the happening of such incidents as irrespective of penal laws. The crime, the criminal intentions, the pessimistic approach of people like the present accused is never going to change until and unless this honorable court, by their judgment, does not form any precedent for future. By wisdom of this honorable court, I would like to thank you, my lordship, for hearing me so peacefully and gently.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to call upon the Defense Counsel, Ms. Anshika Banerjee, for his opening statement.
With the permission of honorable judges, may I begin my opening statement.
Permission granted.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Ms. Ashika Banerjee and my co-counsel Ms. Amrita Pandey. Today, today we're here for my client. Today we're here for my client, Mr. Ranjan and his family have been falsely accused and framed for the murder of late Ms. Supriya Gupta. To the course of the proceedings, we'll see how intricately the entire incident had been woven to mislead the jury by presenting a case based on a typically accepted case of death due to dowry. Every case has two sides. I beg the jury to give us a fair chance to prove that Mr. Ranjan, a respectable individual, and his family are innocent. Late Miss Supriya was indeed a victim of a revenge murder carefully planned by her boyfriend. This is why we ask you, Your Honor, for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. I will now invite the prosecution counsel, Mr. Akshani Dubey, to conduct the examination in chief of their own prosecution witness, Ms. Arishna Gupta.
To the wisdom of this honorable court, I will be pleased to present the list of witnesses. Mrs. Manjeet Kaur Sodhi, the branch manager of Rashtriya Bank, the peon of the bank, the employees of the bank, Mrs. Kamla, the sister of the deceased, the doctor who conducted the post-mortem, the forensic expert, the investigating officer Ramdhari Shukla. Out of the set 8 witnesses, I would be obliged to present one witness which is said to be prime prosecution witness, namely Mrs. Manjeet Kaur Sodhi. The witness is directly linked with the murder of the deceased Supriya. So, by the permission of this honorable court, I would like to call the prosecution witness 1, Mrs. Manjeet Kaur Sodhi. So, Mrs. Sodhi, kindly take the oath before the court that whatever you will depose will be true to the best of your belief, and any false statement made by you will be used against you, and the same will be considered as contempt of court. So, shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell your name before the court?
My name is Mrs. Manjeet Kaur Sodhi.
What is your qualification and designation?
I am M.Ed and the current principal of Golden Public School, Haripur.
So, Mrs. Sodhi, how long you are in touch with the deceased? Or in other words, I can say how long the deceased was in employment as teaching faculty in your school.
I have known the deceased from the day I joined the school as the principal, and the deceased was unmarried at the time.
Mrs. Sodhi, can you tell the court that what kind of teacher was the deceased?
She was a very punctual and disciplined teacher.
Well, Mrs. Sodhi, have you attended the marriage ceremony of the deceased?
No, I haven't, as I was out of station during that time.
Coming to the point, prior to the death of the deceased, have you noticed any kind of change in the behavior and attitude of the deceased?
The day I made a call to the husband of the deceased, it has never happened that the deceased ever took a leave, and it surprised me because any prior notice or intimation, the deceased was absent for a week.
Is it true that you made a call to Ranjan Gupta on 15th January 2021?
Yes, because Supriya has given Ranjan's number as an emergency contact number.
So, as per the findings of the investigating officer, on that day, did you find something fishy while talking to the accused number 1? And even you approached the house of the deceased, along with the police officials to know about her whereabouts. Is it correct?
Yes, it is correct.
What was fishy, which you noticed according to you while talking with the accused number 1?
The tone of the accused number one was fishy when he claimed that his wife was sick and resting at home. He later hung up the call, saying he was busy with work.
On 15th January, at what time you reached her house with the police?
I reached the deceased house at around 3 p.m. with the police.
Whether you met the deceased?
No, as her mother-in-law said, she was suffering with jaundice and taking rest.
Whether after that day the deceased resumed her work?
No, she didn't.
Whether after that day you made any effort to know about the whereabouts of the deceased?
No, as I thought I shouldn't interfere with the personal matters of the deceased.
When did you know about the death of the deceased?
I found out about the death of the deceased when I was called by the investigating officer of the case for identification of the body of the deceased.
Anything else you want to tell voluntarily before this court?
I just want to say that the deceased Supriya was a very hard-working, disciplined, and punctual teacher and a nice lady.
Thank you, my lordship.
Could you, could you please tell the court your name?
Yes, respected jury member, I am Ranjan's mother, Mrs. Megha Gupta.
Mrs. Gupta, for how many years have you known late Mrs. Supriya Gupta?
We had seen her at a wedding in 2019. A few months before, we decided to get our son married to her.
Did you know about Supriya's background before your son got married to her?
Yes, she came from a humble family, but we did not care because we are financially a strong family. All we needed was a good match for our son Ranjan.
How would you describe their marriage? That is, yourself and Supriya. How was it?
Well, from the very beginning, Supriya did not like to mingle with us. She was quiet, aloof, and just concentrated on her schoolwork. I did suggest to her to balance the house and her job, but she always fled up and would storm away. Initially, Ranjan tried to make every possible attempt to make Supriya happy, but she just was determined to make life hell for us.
What do you mean by make life hell for us?
Well, this is a very private matter. But Supriya was not interested in my son, but had an ongoing affair with a man she had met before her marriage. To top it all, she was a schizophrenic patient. She often indulged in self harm and would threaten to blame her bodily, physical harm evidences on us if we did not let her continue meeting with this man.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to invite prosecution counsel to Ms. Anshika Pandey to conduct the cross-examination of the defense witness to Mr. Mridang Shukla.
With the permission of this honorable court, I would like to cross-examine defense witness to.
Yes, permission granted.
So please take oath before the court before we start.
Yes.
Today in this court, I'm standing as a witness. And I'll speak only the truth. Okay. So shall we start?
Yes, you may.
So can you tell your name before the court?
Yes. My name is Mr. Arjun Gupta.
How was your relationship with Supriya?
She was my wife.
Okay. Okay, so is it correct that your parents always physically tortured and treated her with so lot of inconvenience, and your parents physically abused her.
First of all, what do you mean? My parents would have never done such an act to Supriya like that because my parents consider Supriya as their daughter and nothing else.
So why did she told you about your parents? She will not say lie.
By the way, it was a lie because and it was a totally fabricated lie because she just wanted to play the game and wanted to win and just wanted to keep us and make us the victim. So that's why.
So
It's
when she
all
told
right.
you that, so when she told you that your parents are physically abusing her, why you didn't said anything that she is lying or anything?
Let me get this straight. She was a schizophrenic patient and she had always had a meltdown over something. So it was like a really terrible thing to see. Like she may have said something wrong because of her schizophrenia. So we will take her seriously. It was all because of her schizophrenia and her greed to make us the victim.
Okay, so do you have any medical report that she was a patient? You must be having
I
it.
do. I don't. I mean, I do. I do. I do have a medical record that she had jaundice. That
Okay, can you tell on which date was she affected by jaundice?
by the way, it was wrong. She wasn't affected by jaundice, and I didn't have the report. Instead, she ran away with another man who was her boyfriend.
So you lied to the principal, Mrs. Sodhi, right?
Yes, I
When
did. Because if I would have said the truth, I would have been a laughing stock. Everyone would have said to me very bad, and it would happen, and it was happened due to my irritation. And if I said the truth, it would have been a disaster at my house. Everyone would have been a laughing stock, make me a laughing stock of the whole bank.
so can you prove that Supriya ran away with someone?
Yes, I can prove with my I can prove because my mom, Mrs. Megha Gupta, overheard the conversation with Supriya and her boyfriend, and they said that they will blame me for their breakup and thus they will run away.
So if your mother listened the conversation, why didn't she stop Supriya?
She didn't stop Supriya because she was schizophrenic. Nobody could stop her.
Like you said that your parents were so loving towards Supriya. She was just like a daughter to them. So they must stop her.
Yeah, we thought that, but due to her greed, it destroyed my family even further, and due to that, it almost broke their trust, and we could do nothing but let them go because she was at its because her schizophrenia was uncontrollable, and we could do nothing to stop her.
Okay, now could you please tell that why did you take dowry from Supriya? As it is illegal, we all know.
What? First of all, what do you mean that I took dowry from Supriya? As my mother said, we are a financially strong family. So how could we take dowry from Supriya? We knew that she was from a very poor family, so we did nothing we just said that we don't need any dowry at all. We didn't allow any single penny of in form of dowry to come into our house.
Okay, so why your parents, after Supriya's parents' death, why your parents physically abused her? You said that it's okay that you said that they will never abuse her, physically abuse her or torture her, but she won't lie to you.
As I told you before, that she would make excuses and poses us like we have tortured Supriya, but it's all a totally fabricated lie. In reality, it's not like that.
Okay, now could you please tell that why did you choose your new bank branch to expose Supriya's body?
I First of all, I have to say this once again. Why you have telling to us such question like that? Because, ma'am, I am not stupid to commit a murder and then dispose it in my own office. This was done by her boyfriend because she wanted to end the relationship.
Supriya wasn't knowing about the address, neither the man that you're talking about. You were known and your parents were known about the address, the new bank branch, and it was going to open soon, so you can use it to dispose her body.
It's not like that, okay? I work for a reputed bank and the bank name and logo had been put outside the building a month ago. And it was just 4 kilometers from my house. So, how could this happen that Supriya did not know the address of the branch? And how could it happen that Supriya did not tell to her boyfriend?
Okay, is it correct that on 7th January you said that you tell me that why you didn't allow the principal to meet Supriya?
I didn't see.
Why
I
your parents
didn't
didn't allow?
see. My parents didn't allow to meet Supriya because we didn't want it to be a laughing stock once again, and we didn't want it to expose to Mrs. Sodi that Supriya had ran away with her boyfriend. So we could do nothing but just say that you are not allowed to meet with her. What would I have done if I wouldn't have done that?
Okay, so that means at that time on 7th January she was not at home. She already ran away. So on which date
No.
did she run away?
Yeah, she ran on 7th of January only.
Okay, at what time?
She ran at midnight when she ran at 10 in the night, not after that.
Okay, so that means when you and your parents were sleeping, she ran away, right? According to you.
Yeah, but we didn't thought for even a second that she went missing because my mom told us after the day she ran away that I heard that she heard the conversation with her boyfriend that she will run away at 7 January.
Okay, so another question I have that were you were you satisfied that Supriya was doing a job she was earning in a school? She was employed.
Yeah, I can say that, but at the same time, she was also a housewife, and she was my wife, and in another form, she was a daughter in our house. Like she was just like a daughter.
She's not a thing that you will kept it at your home. That you can keep it at your home. Okay,
Miss
so
Anshika Pandey, what
that
I'm telling is the truth, and I have taken the oath, and I still remember that I will tell only the truth and nothing but the truth. And Miss Anshika Pandey, what I'm telling is the truth. So I will not make it by myself.
okay, so on 7th January she ran away, and after that she was not going to school for a week, right?
Yeah.
But principal, according to Mrs. Sodhi, Supriya didn't came before that also. Why is it so? If she ran away on 7th January, why was she not present in the school before 7th January?
Well,
Because on 7th January, Mrs. Sodhi called at your home to know about whereabouts because she was not going to school. So that means that you are lying.
well, for your kind information, I tell you that Mrs. Sodhi called me on 15th of January and not on 7th of January. And if she wasn't before that, so she may be staying at home or maybe making some excuse because now you know of their schizophrenia and there's excuses for making something. And for us as we are the victims.
Okay, so according to your witnesses, the the death was due to dowry or that she was harassed. Why did she never file an FIR? When my client Mr. Ranjan asked her if she wanted a divorce, why did Supriya always refuse it? If she was unhappy, she should have jumped to it and ended the loveless marriage.
The deceased Supriya was um, brought up in a very bright family, and so that she was not they married to the family to create nuisance in the family, and Mr. Ranjan never gave any divorce papers to her.
He did give, he told me about it.
Why did he told you, not me, and I am the investigating officer?
Because I am his lawyer.
So you might have been bribed by him?
No, and as forensic reports have given evidence that the death happened 15 days ago. So after Mrs. Sodhi got suspicious, why all of a sudden she did not show any interest in following up the case? Where were her concerns?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I mean that as the forensic reports have given evidence that the death happened 15 days ago, so after Mrs. Sodhi got suspicious, why all of a sudden she did not show any interest in following up the case? Where were her concerns?
Actually, Mrs. Sodhi was um, not a family member of the deceased, and she was having a whole school running under her supervision.
Okay, so what do you have to say about the CCTV camera reports that we have obtained?
Ma'am, I already told you that I am the investigating officer and I didn't see any CCTV reports. Sorry, recordings.
So, how did you become the witness when you have not even tried to find out all the things about the case? You should check the CCTV reports also, as the CCTV cameras were already there.
Ma'am, the CCTV cameras were just installed and were not in function.
No, we obtained that. So they were in function, and I already told that what do we find in that.
No, ma'am, you are wrong.
Okay, so how come there was no investigation done on Supriya's boyfriend? Why was he not brought into custody and cross-questioned by you? You questioned 19 employees, but why was this man not questioned?
Ma'am, all the other witnesses never gave any statements related to any uh, information about her boyfriend.
So, if you are as a witness here in the court, so you should have first tried to find out this, and you should have asked from his parents and him as well.
We took the statements.
That's all, Your Honor. Thank you.
I would additionally like to say that according to the statement given by Ranjan Gupta, if he had all the evidences and proofs that the deceased Supriya was in affair with someone, and he was just he just took his step back just because of that everyone would laugh on their family. If he was correct, then it was not a fact that he would be laughed of. He should have told the truth.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I would like to invite prosecution counsel to Ms. Anshika Pandey for their closing statement.
With the permission of this honorable court, I would like to conclude the present. My lordship, I would like to pinpoint some of the findings of this case before this court. My lordship, this is a case where brutality has crossed all its limit. It is the case where humanity and morality is ashamed of its virtue. It is the case where every parent will think 100 times before letting their daughter getting married. It is the case where greediness has overcome the moral values. In the nutshell, the murder of the deceased was well planned. If we go through the story narrated on 7th January 2021, the deceased was being brutally treated. And on the very same day, when the deceased confronted before her husband Ranjan about the inhuman behavior of his parents, the husband became mute. And also, the examination in chief and the cross examination make things more clear. Secondly, the body was found in the basement of the office of the bank of which accused number 1 Ranjan was employed, and that the said bank branch was a new branch which was near to the residence of accused number 1. In comparison to the old branch, and the bank was shifted just near to the day incident. Thirdly, when the prosecution witness 1, who is the principal of Golden Public School in which the deceased was employed, made a call on the number of accused number 1. As the deceased has given the number for emergency situation in the school, the accused number 1 gave an excuse that the deceased is not well and will soon return back to school. And when the principal approached the house of the deceased along with police personnel, the accused people did not allow them to search as the police has no search warrant. At the place where the body was recovered, when the prosecution witness 2 found that the accused number 1 was present there and inquired about the deceased, the accused number 1 gave a false statement that the deceased is in school. And when the prosecution witness 2 made a call to prosecution witness 1, it was found that the deceased has not joined the school till date. And that is when the prosecution witness 2 called the prosecution witness 1 for identification of the body. The prosecution witness 1 identified the body of the deceased as of Supriya. Now, a presumption was also drawn on the statement of the prosecution witness 2. That was prior to the incident. When the prosecution witness 2 on the call of prosecution witness 1 on suspicion when inquired at the house of the deceased to know about her whereabouts, their in-laws denied to provide any information. Sixth, from the forensic report and post-mortem report, it was crystal clear that the murder took place 15 days back, which means the accused number 1, who has the knowledge that this branch that is new court was about to open, he used this place to dispose her wife's body after the murder. That the murder took place either on the day 7th Jan or near to it. And it was caused on the reason on non-fulfillment of the dowry demand, regarding which the deceased was being mentally and physically tortured, thus bringing the picture crystal clear that the deceased was being tortured and ill-treated soon before her death, bringing the whole story under Section 304B, Section 302 and Section 34 of Indian Penal Code, wherein the possibility of Section 306 of committing suicide is ruled out. Hence, seeing the brutality and heinousness of the crime, I pray before this honorable court to sentence the accused people to the maximum of the punishment this honorable court deems fit. Now, the findings. Going through the evidences on record and findings, it is found that as all the accused people present in the court are individually or collectively responsible for the murder of the deceased Supriya, under Section 304B, dowry death, Section 498A, husband or relative of husband of a woman subjecting her to cruelty, Section 34, common intention to all the. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to call upon Defense Counsel to Ms. Amrita Pandey for the closing statement.
Your Honor, please grant me the permission to present my closing statement.
Permission granted.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you have witnessed the events unfold in the due course of the proceedings, my witnesses have produced befitting evidences to support the fact that this was indeed an isolated case of a revenge murder which was carefully crafted with the sole intention to put Mr. Ranjan and his family behind bars. The section under which my respectable clients have been taken into custody are baseless and false. As my witness, Mrs. Megha Gupta, mother of Mr. Ranjan Gupta, gave the evidence that they were a very well-off family. Financially, they were very strong. So actually, they did not ask for any dowry to late Mrs. Supriya. The story narrated by Mrs. Sodhi was all fabricated by late Mrs. Supriya. Mrs. Megha Gupta also added that Supriya was a schizophrenic patient, so she always bodily harmed herself and was often riddled with deep threats as she used to threaten Mr. Ranjan Gupta and his family by her actions. And if she would have been a victim of domestic violence and got married in 2019, then how come she was able to tolerate all of this for almost 2 years? This states that she lied to Mrs. Sodhi. Adding further, Mr. Ranjan Gupta told that Supriya would never commit a suicide. This is a clear case of revenge murder. With this, we have enough evidence to prove that this heinous crime was not committed by Mr. Ranjan Gupta, but was a very well-planned murder. Mr. Ranjan and his family are from a very well-off family. If they were the greedy gods, why would they get their son married to a girl from a humble household, knowing very well of the girl's poor financial conditions? The outcome of her disloyalty is indeed grave, but remains unrelated to my client and his family. Your Honor, we ask you for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
Your Honor, I request you to grant permission to end the proceedings here.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. Honorable judges, dear participants, and respected teachers for your presence in the meeting. Thereby, we end the session now. Thank you.
Right. So, good evening, everybody. My dear students and respected teachers. As I said yesterday, I mean those who were there in the courtroom which I was judging. The research you guys have done, being students of class 6th, 7th, 8th, and the delivery and the fluency of your delivery and the confidence is something which I would repeat it again. I have not seen uh, in many of the college students also. Okay, so you all have done phenomenal preparation, and I am extremely happy to see that this level of dedication in such young kids is something which is very appreciable. So kudos to all of you, all the teachers who were involved in the preparation and the organization of the event. A big thank you to all of you for having us here, for inviting me and Mansha. I'm sure I speak on behalf of her too when I say that it was a wonderful experience for us to be here. And yes, I am truly humbled and absolutely amazed to see such a brilliant performance from all of you. So thank you very much. Mansha, if you have
Thank you
anything.
very much, sir. I answer.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. Uh, I would totally second everything Aryan just said, and but I would like to add something to that. I hope no one will get disheartened here if they do not get any prize or a position, because that's not everything. Because like Aryan said, the way you all presented your ideas and your arguments here with so much of respect for the people around you, and keeping in mind to be sensitive with very delicate issues, it was remarkable, and it was very inspiring for even us, because we, like Aaron said again, do not have so many people in our college who are as half as good as you are here today. So we hope that the fire will keep on burning inside all of you all, and whoever wins, you are great. And if you do not get the position, do not get disheartened, because all of you were amazing. And I have never seen such brilliant kids in my entire life, especially not in my school. So.
Thank you so much, Mancha ma'am.
Thank you so much, judges, and thank you everyone for joining. I would request you all to join at 6:30 the closing session. Okay, so we will meet
Okay,
there
ma'am.
and we will declare the results, and we are
Okay,
also
ma'am.
going to have some positions being declared, like the best counsel, the best witness, okay, even the best moderators. So be ready. Okay, so let's meet again. Thank you everyone. You
Okay,
all can
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Okay,
you.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm really
Satya.
okay. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked because I usually teach okay undergraduate students, even postgraduate students, such clarity in the way person has narrated the whole fact. I'm really shocked, in fact. तो
So for
आपने
that
जो
you'll have to appreciate my judges who have trained them and my teachers who have trained them.
absolutely no doubt about
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes.
No doubt,
Yes, sir.
no doubt about it.
So,
So,
with your permission, shall I start the
sure, ma'am,
ceremony?
sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. A very warm welcome to everyone in the closing ceremony of the first mock trial event of SRGS. I welcome the students, participants of all the four houses, judges, Principal Ms. Sushma Soni, our esteemed guest of honor, Dr. Tauheed Alam, Assistant Professor, School of Law, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, Dehradun. Sir is a Master and PhD from Aligarh Muslim University. He has attended international conference on arbitration and conciliation and written on Tazir punishment in Islam in international journal. The two-day trial have been crucial for the participants and the teachers involved in mentoring them. I'm sure it would have been a learning experience for all of them. The students at this tender age may not realize, but the skills they are acquiring is grooming their personalities. I would like to thank Director of Operations, Ms. Palak Singh, and our Vice Chairman, Mr. Pulkit Singh, Principal, Ms. Sishma Soni, for the guidance and support they have provided. I appreciate the efforts put forth by Ms. Samana, Ms. Pooja, Ms. Shweta, Ms. Anukriti, Ms. Monica, Ms. Shobhita, and Ma'am Smita in organizing and training the participants. I also thank Ms. Nivedita Sahai, our pre-primary coordinator, and all the house teachers involved in the preparations. My special thanks and a lot of blessings to the young law trainees who have accepted my request to be the judges of the event. Ms. Tanya Prasad, Ms. Muskan Kumar, Ms. Mansha Bhatia, and Mr. Aryan Srivastav, all from Manipal Law University, Jaipur. What enthralls me about these judges, who are also the students of law, is their approach towards learning and making others learn. I really feel proud that we are giving our nation in some responsible hands. Thank you so much, students. I would now request our guest of honor, Dr. Alam, for the closing address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And good evening to all of you. Time when I have joined this law university, such thing was not there. In fact, not very frequent. Hardly in third year I can recall that in fourth year we used to go into moot court. But the way you have been introduced to this procedure, right? It will surely help you, okay, for choosing if you really want to choose a law as your career. Because earlier what happens that law generally it seems that जब कोई कुछ नहीं कर पाता था ना तब लोग लॉ करते थे, राइट? इन द ये लॉ के साथ हो गया था, अगर ग्रेजुएशन कर लिया कुछ नहीं हुआ तो फिर लॉ कर लिया. But the way this 5-year course BLLB has been introduced by Madhav Menon, and it has purely changed the shift in legal arena. And now, okay, students are very cautious. The students are very careful about their career. And now it is okay. Law firms are paying a very handsome salary in this profession. Earlier, okay, it is just okay. Law इसलिए किया जाता था कि dowry देना होता था, dowry लेना नहीं होता था. ठीक है ना? लॉ अगर किया है वकील का ये होता था कि इंजीनियर्स को मिलेगा. Although dowry is a crime, okay, I'm not advocating for that dowry, but I'm just telling you कि market क्या थी lawyers की. But now it has got changed. People are doing law, okay, just okay. You can imagine that in my university, students are paying around 30 lakhs, including hostel, okay, just to do law. That you can imagine, okay, how this profession has emerged for past 15 to 20 years. And also the law term, which generally we thought about it, we know that law is generally something which talks about rules and regulations, but it is not so. In fact, law is everywhere, right? It is about social justice, it is about economic justice, okay, be it is about your rights, be it is about your the liabilities, everywhere is law. So you cannot evade the law. Even if you live in a society, everyone wants to know at least some law which is very useful for them. Like FIR, आप लोगों ने सुना होगा बचपन में FIR होती है, right? The students, am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
In your family, okay, you must have heard this term FIR, case हो गया, okay, वो जेल में चला गया, right? So these are the things, okay, which even if you're not interested in law, law is interested in you, okay? It is like a politics. If you don't like politics, but politics will always have an interest in you. So similarly, law, okay, it will always affect your life, because the legislature in the way, okay, it takes out certain like CAA. अभी आप लोगों ने देखा ना CAA एक कानून बना, फिर पूरे देश में एक तरीके का जो है प्रोटेस्ट हुआ. तो लॉ हर तरीके से अफेक्ट करता है, whether you want to know law or not want to know it, लेकिन it will affect your life. और दूसरा जो सबसे important aspect है लॉ का, that is about the justice, right? If you really feel that you want to give something to the your society, then it is okay. Law is that profession where you can okay give so much to the society. मतलब अगर आपको सोसाइटी को देना है, and if you want to earn money, पैसा कमाना चाहते हो, तो भी इसकी कोई लिमिट नहीं है, राइट? अगर आप टॉप मोस्ट डॉक्टर्स और टॉप मोस्ट लॉयर्स के पैसे का अगर आप एक इवेल्यूटिव इनफैक्ट स्टडी करोगे, then you will find that lawyers are earning more in comparison to other profession. इतना मत सोचो इस कैरियर के बारे में लॉ क्या होता है, बट लॉ की इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है, लॉ कैसा हमारे कैरियर में इफेक्ट करता है इन फ्यूचर. अब लॉ वो नहीं रह गया जो पहले हुआ करता था कि सिर्फ आप वकील बनेंगे. देयर आर सो मेनी फील्ड इन फैक्ट यू कैन गो इनटू द दिस बाय डूइंग लॉ. इनफैक्ट ये यूपीएससी मैम जो एग्जामिनेशन होते हैं, अगर आप देखो तो उसमें जो लॉ से फील्ड से लोग जाते हैं ना, वो दे परफॉर्म बेटर. इनफैक्ट बिकॉज द मेन पर्पज ऑफ IPS or DM is to enforce the law into the society. And if you have done this law course, then ideally you will be fulfilling this duty in a more better manner in compared to other candidates. तो ये फील्ड ऐसी है कि बस जिसे कहते हैं मजे हैं, लेकिन इंटरेस्ट होना चाहिए. इंटरेस्ट नहीं है तो फिर बहुत बोरिंग हो जाता है. आई विल एडवोकेट दैट गो फॉर योर इंटरेस्ट. जो आपका इंटरेस्ट हो उसमें जाओ आप, राइट. लेकिन अभी बस पढ़ना है, अपने सब्जेक्ट पे फोकस करना है और ज्यादा नहीं सोचना है, राइट, कि हमको लॉयर बनना है अभी से. जब तक 12th नहीं हो जाए ज्यादा प्रेशर नहीं डालना है माइंड पे, राइट. विद दिस आई वांट टू क्लोज माय दिस session, and thank you so much ma'am for having me for this beautiful
Thank you, sir.
gathering with the students. Thank you so much.
It's now time to declare the winners, the awards. Look at Akaisha's face. So the winning house, any guesses?
Gandhi?
Any guesses?
Teresa. Teresa for short. Teresa. Teresa. Teresa for everyone. Teresa for everyone who is not Teresa. Wait.
Okay. All right. So not to bother you much, I'll announce it quickly. So the winner house is the Gandhi house, the prosecution side. Congratulations. And the runner-up is Teresa house, the defense side. So congratulations to all the winners. Those who did not win or could not make it to the finals, don't get discouraged. You all are very young, and this is just the first step towards a very long journey. Keep taking part. Believe me, participation matters. Not that you always win will matter in leading a successful life. Those who win must have fallen many a times. Now it is time to close the competition, and I would request our principal ma'am to do so. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to congratulate each one of you for how you all kept forward your thoughts and arguments so brilliantly. I'm proud for you all have done really well in both today and yesterday's mock trials, and very well conducted by Mr. Aryan as well. Thank you so much. I, Ms. Sushma Soni, Principal Shri Ram Global School, Lucknow, by the power vested in me, declare this first inter-house mock trial competition closed. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.